Welcome, one and all, back to the Austin and Scott Variety Show.
Hold on, get some ASMR in here also. Just be like,
ASMR? You just cracking a cold one?
no comment.
Yeah, no, my fridge is sad and empty. I have nary a beverage in front of me. That's something I'm going to fix. Today we are joined by a friend of the podcast, Catherine.
Yes, can you hear me?
Woohoo! I hear you loud and clear.
Right.
Welcome to the Austin and Scott Variety Show, Catherine. Right now we're just about to catch up with our week. Scott, how has your week been?
Probably from my high, went through second session of our D&D campaign now, so things are chugging along. They got my riddle, which I know we were afraid of, so almost instantly off the bat when the players got it, they were like, this seems important.
Pockets it. Yeah. I heard the game ended with a lot of looting.
Yes. They are now officially outlaws, so they're not going to be welcomed in many stores. So I try to give them as much equipment as they might need.
Oh my. Catherine, have you played much D&D?
I have, yeah. That's actually where Ian and I kind of met.
Nice.
Through that, yeah. It
what
has
kind
been a
of
while.
characters do you play?
Rogues typically. I like doing all the pick-locking.
Nice. So what about yourself, Austin?
Yeah, the highs of my week were that Diane got a job, which is awesome because it's taken quite a while after the immigration process for her to have everything that she needs to be able to get to her work and to be able to legally work. So I'm over the moon. So happy.
What is she doing now?
So this is the thing. She signed a contract to work at a place called What Bakery and Coffee, which I think is just such a search engine optimized name of a company. Because anyone that's looking for coffee or bakery, like, what is a coffee? And then they say, oh, you mean this restaurant that you should go eat at? Oh.
That's really smart, actually. That is
thinking in the 22nd century how to...
That is meta as fuck.
Croissant. That's definitely the high of my week, but I'll circle this back around. The lows for my week. I had phone troubles, Scott. The worst fear in the back of every man's mind, just trying to sit down at the toilet, is what if my phone is in my back pocket and I didn't check? And sure enough, as I'm pulling down the pants, kabloop.
I thought they were waterproof.
Yeah, waterproof up to a certain point, and when it's not cracked, Scott.
Oh,
right.
I see.
Yeah, I was worried that I lost the microphone on it. I left it out of the case for a while because I just wanted to let it dehydrate. And then it got worse because I was at work and my phone is in my lap and I wasn't paying attention, but the glass is so slippery and smooth on the back. It fell out of my lap and then on the wheel of the chair, and it cracked the glass on the back of the phone. It's just a beautiful, beautiful splintery spider webs and a bunch of tiny little bits of glass. So I have the case on it, so it's not going to be that much of a problem, but its water resistance is perhaps affected. Compromised. But those were my troubles for the week. How about you, Scott?
Those are some troubles. The troubles this week actually, I was going to say, are non-existent. Everything that's a trouble was self-inflicted, so that was a choice I decided to do, being lazy instead of doing what I should have done. Mm-hmm. But yeah, otherwise, I'm high on life right now.
That's a great way to start February.
Exactly.
How is your week shaping up, Kat? Highs and lows?
Week's going good. Highs is I'm taking an amphibian class. Well, we're on amphibian right now, but it is a herpetology course, just to get more of my sort of naturalist, repertoire up to snuff. And so I've just been really enjoying taking my classes and learning a lot about reptiles, amphibians, all the weird things going on there. And
now, I've never heard that word before. I'm obviously not a bio person, but what does that actually mean? Herpetology. What does that encompass?
Yeah. So herpetology is all reptiles and amphibians. Fun story with that. So herpetos is Greek for to creep. That's actually why herpes is also called that. But same root word. And for a long period of history, if you're not familiar, Linnaeus is kind of the father of classification. So kind of why we all animals and group them into different groups. He was kind of the first person to do that. And when it came to reptiles and amphibians and all things creepy crawly, he's just like, these things are gross, so I'm going to lump them all together, and no one should care about them, and they're gross and disgusting, and why are they here? And just like shoving them into the corner.
That's amazing.
So that's why we lump reptiles and amphibians together. And I think they used to also lump worms in there. They're just like, if it's gross, it's
goes
a
to the herpetology.
Yeah.
That is a good fun fact to know.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
That is an excellent fun fact, and I think that ties us into a fun fact that Scott has prepared for us today. Tell us all about it.
Yes. So, do you guys know why Starbucks has its name, Starbucks?
Is it the horse?
It is not the horse.
Is it
I don't know
also
why.
Greek
I've
mythology?
been to the first one in Seattle.
Yeah, I've also been to Pike's Market in Seattle. Their sign is different. It's a different Little Mermaid person. I'm gonna bet you Starbucks is some Greco-Roman entity. What do you think, Kat?
Well, I'm wondering which came first, Starbucks or Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica.
Well, Starbucks is not named after the horse or any Greek mythology. Originally, the company was to be called Pequod, after the whaling ship from Moby Dick. But the name was rejected by some of the co-founders. The company instead settled on the name of the chief mate of the Pequod, which was Starbuck. And that's where Starbucks gets their name.
It's good to listen to your peers, to be able to take some course correction, or else we'd all be going out and getting Pequodded. Get our daily Pequod.
You want me to go pick up some Pequod for you guys? Gotta get my Pequod before I start the morning.
I'm drinking Pequod over here.
Plate with Pequod.
Not gonna lie, if it was Pequod, I think I'd have a lot more fun saying, let's go get some Starbucks. Let's go get some Pequod. Yeah.
Okay, well, this ties us into our next game section. All right, Catherine, we have a series of games for you this week. 4 different games. Each of them are worth points, and if you get a certain amount of points by the end of the game, we might let you request a special prize. All right, how about we dive into it for the first game? Order matters. I have 5 different space missions of satellites that went to 5 different planets. These, in alphabetical order of the space missions, are Cassini, Galileo, Magellan, Messenger, and Viking. 1 point for associating the correct planet, and 1 point for guessing the correct order of these missions. Cassini, Galileo, Magellan, and Messenger. I will tell you that the planets that these satellites have visited are Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn.
All right, so the Vikings came to America first.
Okay, I like where you're going.
Vikings were 1300s? I was just going
Magellan
to say
was the
Messenger was
ocean
last.
explorer, right? So that might have been circa 1400s, 1500s maybe?
No, because it would have been after... Magellan was the first one to circumnavigate the world, so Magellan would have been after Christopher Columbus, which was 1492.
All right, I think I got it. All right, Cassini, I do believe, is Mars. Galileo would make sense for Jupiter, since that's what he was observing in the night sky. Let's skip Magellan for now.
Sure.
With Messenger, I'm putting with Venus. And because nothing matters, how about Viking for Mercury?
Okay, so I'm going to say Cassini was Mercury. No, okay. Then I have a different strategy. Pivoting. Magellan is Mercury. Messenger is Mercury.
Come on.
Viking is Venus. Okay, well, at least I got us 1 more point. All right.
Right.
So we got Mercury and Jupiter.
Necessarily associated with the names.
Yeah, Viking's Mars. And Magellan would then be Pluto. Neptune. Uranus.
Venus.
Oh, I missed Venus? I thought Viking was Venus.
Vikings. No.
Magellan's Venus. And Viking is then Pluto.
I told you the 5 planets that these missions go for in the very beginning.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to that.
Okay.
Vikings Mars. Woo!
Okay. All right. Oh, I missed Mars. Oh my gosh. Okay, I forgot Mars we hadn't gotten yet.
Okay.
Which one was Magellan again?
All right, I got it. Galileo, Jupiter, Messenger, Mercury, Cassini, Saturn, Magellan, Venus, Viking,
Mars.
Okay, you said them pretty
All
quick,
right.
but I'll check you in post. All right, do you want to guess the order of these space missions? The chronological order in which they took place?
I want to say Venus was the first.
I'm gonna say Venus wasn't, because I remember there was a big history point of how America just kind of left Venus alone, and
Right.
we focused on Mars when the Russians focused on Venus.
Mm-hmm.
These missions are for successful orbiters, not missiles that plunge into the planet's surface and explode on
point.
impact. So, with that caveat,
The Russians never visited Venus. No.
like kinda, but they're missing the criteria for this game. I think I said it was for all mankind because I bet you half of these are international collaborations.
Okay.
I will say dates are outside of my purview. I'm just glad that I got Galileo and Jupiter connection.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go in order. So I'm just going to say Viking 1, Magellan 2, and then let's say 3 for Messenger, grabbing at straws, and then we're going to say Jupiter, Galileo, and then Cassini.
I'm going to say that we visited Venus first, Mars second, Jupiter third, Saturn fourth, and Mercury fifth.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. In chronological order, Catherine got 2 correct, and Scott got 3 correct. It was very close, very close. And you are on the right track. The proximity has a lot to do with it. But yes, Scott did point out that historically we have not ventured into the inner planets until post-1990s. So let's start from the top. Yes, the Viking mission going to orbit around Mars happened in 1976. After that, Magellan in 1990. After that is Galileo orbiting Jupiter in 1995. Cassini orbited Saturn. That mission was in 2004. And then lastly, Messenger around Mercury in 2011.
All right.
Mixed up Venus and Mars. Okay.
Yeah, don't do that. All right, and with that game section out of the way, we are on to fake news. Scott, introduce us to this next category.
Yes, so this is fake news. Basically, I'm going to read you 3 news stories all sharing the same theme. There's only one true one. There are 2 false ones, and this is worth 3 points if you guess correctly. Are you ready?
All right.
I'm ready.
All right, so for this week's fake news, we have a theme of things New Yorkers will line up for. Number 1, feline the excitement. Crowds gather for zoo's new white tiger exhibit. Excited crowds are lining up outside the Central Park Zoo for the grand opening of its new attraction, a state-of-the-art white tiger exhibit, or habitat. The exhibit, featuring 2 rare white Bengal tigers named Kiran and Maya, offer a unique chance to see these majestic animals up close in an environment designed to mimic their natural habitat. Zoo officials say the attraction includes a sprawling jungle-like enclosure, a waterfall, multiple viewing areas, including an underwater glass tunnel where guests can watch the tigers swim. I've never seen a white tiger in person before, said 8-year-old Leo Martinez, who arrived early with his family. They're my favorite animals. The zoo expects to record breaking attendance for the attraction's opening weekend. With staff on hand to educate visitors about white tiger conservation efforts, it's all lined up for a good time. So that's number 1.
All right, Kat, how plausible do you think that story is?
Are we like trying to analyze if this was like written by a AI?
Scott has gaslit us. He's a very creative individual, and he's very capable, and he may be using AI to help him generate some of these stories. But in the end, 2 of these stories will be false, and 1 of them will definitely be true. So with that said, did anything stand out in this article that might tip you off one way or the other?
But so far, I mean, yeah, it sounds like white Bengal tigers are exciting. I have seen some in like the New Orleans Audubon Zoo.
Okay. That gives me something to think about.
Number 2. Sneakerheads lace up for Supreme's latest drop in NYC. Streetwear enthusiasts have been lining up for days outside of Supreme's flagship store in Manhattan for the latest sneaker collaboration with Nike. The limited edition drop, rumored to feature never-before-seen colorways and custom designs, has attracted die-hard collectors and resellers alike. "I'm planning to resell these for triple the price," admits one shopper who has been waiting in line since Monday. "If you don't camp out, you're not going to get a pair." NYPD has been monitoring the growing crowd to prevent scalper-related conflicts as tensions have flared during the past high-profile release.
It hurts me how believable this story is, Scott.
Yeah,
The resale
part of me is
market's
like,
huge.
isn't it pretty cold in New York right now? But also,
There's such angry
I don't know, the
people who
hype.
brave the cold. Yeah. How about you introduce us to the last story?
Number 3. A sensational sight. Visitors flock to Brooklyn Botanical Gardens for a rare corpse flower bloom. One by one, visitors at the Brooklyn Botanic Gardens have braved the putrid stench of a rare plant that smells like rotting flesh. The Amorphoros gigas, a relative of the infamous corpse flower, has bloomed for the first time since arriving in the garden in 2018, drawing massive crowds eager to witness the fleeting event. "It smells like feet, cheese, and rotten meat," says Elijah Blades, one of the many visitors who leaned in for a whiff. "That was disgusting." Native to Sumatra, the towering plant releases a foul odor to attract carrion-loving pollinators. The bloom, which contains hundreds of tiny male and female flowers within the structure, will last only for a few days before it collapses, meaning visitors will have a short window to experience the rare phenomenon. Similar scenes are unfolding across the globe. At the Royal Botanic Garden in Sydney, thousands of visitors are waiting in a 3-hour line to witness blooming corpse flower, the first at Australia's garden in 15 years. The plant, which stood once 10 inches tall 3 months ago, has since grown to well over 5 feet. With excitement peaking, the Brooklyn Botanic Garden officials recommend arriving early before the rare and revolting fragrance fades away.
Yeah,
Fragrance
that was quite the
fades.
story.
Yeah.
From an anatomical standpoint, Kat, does that size and dimensions of that plant make sense? If it
Oh,
stands
yes.
just 10 inches and then it can be 5 feet tall and stinky?
Yes. Plants. So I do know that the corpse flower is a real thing. Plants sometimes go through this thing where they don't set out spores once a year. They will pretty much lay dormant and non-reproductive for most of their life, and then they just go out in one big bang. And corpse flowers are one of the most impressive ones to do that. And yes, they can reach
I guess
about.
this article mentioned that there was a different corpse flower somewhere else in the world spawning at the same time. Are they known to coordinate this way? Would a bloom be once a year, or they're saying several years at a time? Just once in a lifetime, maybe?
Yeah, for the individual, it would be once in a lifetime. They kind of just let it all out at once. And so depending on these are highly rainforests, one of the reasons why it's quite a feat to go and see is that the room that it has to be in is also highly humidified to mimic the rainforest. So it's hot and it's stinky. I know here in San Francisco, there was one blooming a few years ago, and everyone was very excited for it. And I kind of wish I had gone and seen it.
Okay, so reviewing the corpse flower, the sneaker that's about to be released, or a new zoo exhibit. I have to rattle my brain to figure out which of these is the most plausible real stories, because they're all very plausible stories, right?
Right.
But the question
So
is, which one
remind
of
me.
these 3 are New Yorkers actually lining up for?
Okay, so there's only one that's true.
Correct. Correct.
Correct. And there's only one that doesn't involve animals or critters.
I don't think that Supreme has a flagship store is the thing. I thought it was a whole kind of Banksy situation where they do a lot of more online stuff.
Well, it's a collaboration with Nike, but it does say that it's Supreme's flagship store. Okay, that's a good red flag that you stumbled upon.
I'm trying to remember if white Bengal tigers are more of a color morph thing or a they're not like their own species.
It just happens to be like albinoism. Like it's not red hair they have; it's just white with black stripes.
Right, kind of like how like you can have a jaguar and the jaguar could either be black or have spots, and it's still going to be a jaguar.
Okay, so if you had to lock in your answer,
for the sake of winning, I want to go towards the plant.
I'll go for the laced up one.
Yeah, I'll go for the horseflower bloom because I think that probably could be put in there as a this is so wild it can't be true, but
I see.
Nature's wild.
All right, Scott, drum roll. What is it?
Not a drum roll.
You need to put a drum roll sound effect on the soundboard, my guy. It's your fault. You're in charge of this.
You guys are correct. It was, in fact, the flower. That is true.
Nice.
So this week in the Brooklyn Botanic Gardens, there is, in fact, what's it called? The Amorphophallus gigas. That smells
I think it's a Morphophallus.
Thank you. Yes, I should ask the biologist. But yes, that is the only true story. The other two are fake. I want to say, though, that Supreme does have a head store in NYC. I'll have to check that.
Okay.
And then for the Bengal Tigers, I'm pretty sure they are a different subsect as well. So I didn't want to say anything, but if I had you guys Google them, I think that would have made you guys lean the other way. But you guys did a very good job sussing out my gaslighting this week. So good job.
Very nice.
Way to go. Points on the board. And with that, Scott, can you introduce us to our advertiser this week?
Yes, this week we are sponsored by Sand. Discover the power of sand, nature's ultimate multitasker. Build, play, and create with the world's most versatile resource. Looking for the perfect material for your next project? Whether you're building sandcastles or landscaping your garden, or creating a dream backyard oasis, Sand has got you covered. Why choose Sand? It's durable and strong. From construction projects to glassmaking, Sand stands the test of time. It's fun and functional, perfect for kids' play areas, beach days, or DIY projects. It's sustainable and natural, as an abundant resource that is eco-friendly as it is essential. Get the sand you need delivered to your doorstep today. Whatever your project, Sand is the solution. Order now and let your imagination flow with Sand.
Wow.
Do you have any promo codes for that sponsor?
Yeah, it's SAND.
It's called Go to the Beach and Dig It Up Yourself. If you're allowed to, I should say. Some beaches don't allow you to take sand.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. Thank you, Big Sand.
Yes, thanks, Big Sand.
For sponsoring this.
Would they still technically fall under the Big Silicon umbrella?
I wonder if they use special Big Sand, if they're like gatekeeping the good stuff.
Yeah. Because there's black sand I've heard of. Yeah, that you used to use to get iron for samurai swords, right?
Oh, hey, that's an idea.
Yeah.
I mean, either that or for meteorites, if you can figure out how to get them.
You have to find a meteorite, but yes.
Yeah, you have to find them. And with that, we are going to go on to the next section.
Part 2 of the game show.
Part 2. This next game will be worth a total of 6 points. You can get 2 points if you can guess the name of the song while it's played in reverse, or you can get 1 point if we have to play it the normal way. This week's theme are childhood standards. Music that everyone by the age of about 10 has probably heard. With that said, let's listen to the first song in reverse and see if either of you can identify it. Here we go.
I think I got it.
You think you got it? Scott, do you think you have it?
I have no idea. I got nothing. Rockin' My Baby.
Rockin' My Baby? All right, Catherine, what do you think?
I thought it's wrong.
I think it's Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh my gosh. Now you say it, it's so obvious. Yep. Very nicely done.
Thank you. All right, that's an immediate 2 points for Catherine. With some low-hanging fruit that I'm really surprised Scott wasn't able to get.
My brain was not in the zone. I'm still waking up. Yeah.
All right. This brings us to Song 2 by The Blur. In reverse, but not by The Blur. Okay, here's Song 2.
Well, you said these are all like nursery rhymes, right?
Pretty much.
I'll give you a hint. This one's classical.
Then I think I know it. But now I need to remember who did it and what's it called.
Yeah, that's where I'm at also.
Okay, so both of you know it.
It is Beethoven. Claire de Lune?
The song is for someone.
Oh.
But in German. And that person's name starts with the letter E.
Fleur-de-lis.
That's so close enough. I might have to
Give it to her, yep.
I get points for confidence.
Fleur-de-lis. Yes, it's Fleur Elise. Yes.
Fleur-de-lis. There we go. Not the little symbol from France.
Yep. Okay, I'll give you a point for that one. And Scott, still, you gotta wake up, man. You gotta wake up.
I just didn't know the name.
Get your head in the game. Okay. All right. This is the third and last song of this segment. All right, I'm going to play it in reverse now. Scott, I did save the most challenging ones for the very end. I don't know. Okay. You don't have a shot.
I was like, oh no, maybe I really need to go back to bed. Just sleep more.
It's there, but I can't pinpoint it.
I got nothing to play it for.
All right, and going forward, it sounds a little bit like this.
Oh my gosh. These are infuriating.
Scott, this reverse music thing was your idea.
I know.
I just executed on it. Okay,
man.
can you identify?
Go ahead.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Yep, somewhere over the rainbow. And it's been done and done and done and done. But yeah.
All
right, way to go. And I think you've garnished
off the bat.
I think you got like a total of 5 points, Catherine, if I'm not mistaken. And Scott
Sounds
got
right.
Scott
She got the
nil.
And she got the question fake news correct, so that's another 3. She's well over 10 points now. She's won the prize.
So we're basically going to victory lap here with a 6-second rapid-fire trivia section. Scott's going to give you a series of questions, and I'm going to get a stopwatch queued up, and you will just try to, as quickly as you can, answer the question. If you don't know the answer, just say pass, and we will give you another question. I will give you a warning in the last 2 seconds for you to round out your last question. All right. Are both of you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you ready, Kat?
I am.
All right.
Locked in.
Mark, get set, go.
What is the longest river in the world?
Mississippi.
Who directed the film Jaws?
Steven Spielberg.
What ancient civilization built Machu Picchu?
Maya.
What year did the Beatles break up?
When?
Yeah, what year?
Pass.
What is the chemical symbol for gold?
AU.
What sport would you perform a slam dunk in?
Basketball.
Who wrote Pride and Prejudice?
Jane Austen.
What is the fictional town in Stranger Things?
Hawkins.
Who's the co-founder of Apple along with Steve Jobs?
Pass.
What is the main ingredient in guacamole?
Avocado.
Who painted the Mona Lisa?
Da Vinci.
What animal is known as the king of the jungle?
The lion, I guess.
Last question.
What is the capital of Australia?
Sydney.
And that's a total of 8 correct, Scott.
Yes.
Way to go.
That was impressive. All right, so with a total of 18 points, you do, in fact, win our prize.
Ooh.
Congratulations. The prize is a wish of your choice, but with our stipulations.
Ooh.
So if you could have anything in the world, with an asterisk, what would your one wish be?
One wish. Not a lot of people know that a lot of amphibians are going extinct because of a horrible fungus called chytrid. And one of the reasons why these fungus is spreading is through human impact. So if you're ever going to go around ponds, just make sure to wash your boots first so that you're not bringing bad funguses to our very delicate environments.
That is a really
PSA.
wholesome wish. Usually we want to ruin the person's wish and make it not happen whatsoever, but that's such an endearing, wholesome wish.
Oh, no. I got this one. Don't worry.
Yeah?
So your wish is to have this podcast be your soapbox to spread awareness of this cause of washing your boots and all that stuff before you go to the pond. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Your wish is granted. However, this podcast has 0 listeners.
Yeah, that's the monkey paw. Yeah.
That's the
Well,
truth.
isn't that what life is like? Shouting into the void.
Shouting into the void.
We'll see if that changes when we post this podcast, but I guess it's just still good.
Yeah,
Your
we'll
wish
see.
will come
Wash
true.
your boots. Don't contaminate the waters. Keep them little lizards going and happy and living.
I like to talk about problems and actionable solutions, and if you just make sure that you don't bring your muddy boots from one place to another, you could actually make a huge difference.
That is an
Well, thanks for
excellent
playing,
wish.
Kat.
Yes, thank you
Yeah.
for
Appreciate your
joining
time.
us. I know that you have to get going. We really appreciate you hopping on the call. And again, congratulations on making your mystery wish. We'll do everything that we can to make it come true.
Yes.
Thank you all so much. This is fun.
Yeah. Okay. Until next time. Bye, Kat.
Bye.
No, I liked her wish. Her wish was good. That was a good one. It also fit perfectly with the fact that the, the caveat is you can use this podcast as a platform to spread your PSA.
Too bad the
but we have no
podcast
audience.
sucks.
That was too good. That was too good of a curse. All right.
Built in,
So,
baked in.
what's been on your radar this week, Austin? Anything fun or surprising?
Fun or surprising? Yeah, I guess the LA fires are finally out. It was just kind of
Nice.
burning up for half a
Yikes.
month.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of. I grew up in LA until I was 18, so it was kind of sad to see like a lot of places that I was up and around to growing up are no longer there. And we'll see what Dance Gavin Dance does with the future upgrades to the.
Yeah.
We'll see what he does.
You saw that Seth Rogen clip of him dancing, I take it?
Yeah, he's a little cringe. It sounded like he already had plans lined up on what he was going to do
Yeah.
to make Los Angeles 2.0.
Yeah.
So
Politician being politician.
yeah,
Yeah.
they put
You
on the
don't get
news
into
whatever they
power.
want us to see on the news, I suppose.
Yep, exactly. Well, it's good news, though, that the fires are contained. Do you guys still have water up there? Or?
I mean, I took a nice long shower today, so I hope they don't need it.
That's fair, yeah. For me, DeepSeek's been on my radar quite a bit
F me, dude.
this week. What?
Because I finally took some of your not great professional advice and put a bunch of money in the stock market.
Did you buy NVIDIA?
I did not buy NVIDIA specifically, but if the S&P 500 is what it is, then NVIDIA is
that's huge
leading the pack,
chunk.
if you will. And
That's true.
the whale leading the market has tripped and stubbed its toe on DeepSeek.
Yep.
So,
Oh, you know what that means now,
that's a
right?
hiccup. That now we have to
Either-
figure out how to put DeepSeek in the chips?
No. Now you just buy more NVIDIA because it's now on sale.
I guess it's on sale, Scott. I wish I knew that before I put my money into it. But it's not the end of the
Remember,
world, I
time in the
suppose.
market beats time in the market. It'll be okay.
All
As long
right.
as you don't need that money next week, it'll come back.
So tell me about DeepSeek. Have you been using it?
I have not yet. I've been reading up on it. I think the most interesting aspect of it is the lower size requirement for a lot of stuff. So you don't need those NVIDIA chips, which is why that stock price tank is because previously everybody thought NVIDIA was going to be needed. But the fact that you can do it without that stuff and then be able to do it locally, that's going to be a huge game changer.
Yeah, I
over
heard that
in
this
North
model
Carolina.
performed a lot better on something called chain of consciousness. The idea that you can give it a logical puzzle or time sequence to work through, and then it will
Right.
put together the steps. One
Yeah.
test that people have given AI in the past is that they'll describe 3 different colored blocks, and then they'll describe a process of adding another block or taking a block from the middle and then stacking it on top, and then at the end of it, asking the AI to describe the stack of blocks. And then
Nice.
they haven't been performing so well on that specific task, but DeepSeek, with its ability to flow the chain of events, it's able to succeed at this task and does very well.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
we'll have to keep
That's
our
also
eye out
good.
on DeepSeek. But we need
Yeah.
to wrap up this podcast, and we have a few listeners who have written in to us, Scott.
Oh, awesome. Go ahead and let us know.
Yeah, Emma from humid Houston, Texas says, I feel like I'm stuck in a rut, repeating the same routine every day. How can I break out of the cycle and find a new motivation?
That's a tough situation, Emma. I know. Also, humid Houston is also another weird tongue twister. My best advice for breaking out of a rut in a routine and all that stuff is add a different routine. So if you are getting up in the morning to go to work and all that stuff, change your routine to be getting up in the morning and go meditate in the morning for 5 minutes before you go to work. Change out stuff like that where you're still doing the same routine, but every day your routine is slightly different and you have slots for whatever you're swapping out.
That's an interesting take. I'll be the devil's advocate here and say that you literally just have to break that routine. Step outside, quit your job, abandon your family. Just stop doing what's expected of you by society and literally break those expectations.
Go crab fishing in Alaska.
Go do it. It's there. All you have to do is go.
For those of you that don't want to completely fireball your career in life, the other advice I think does work.
Yeah, that also works. But you'll definitely break out of a rut doing it my way.
Yeah. All right. That is fair.
Javier from Madrid, Spain writes in, I'm struggling with self-doubt, even when I know I'm capable. How can I build confidence and trust in my own decisions? That's a pretty good question, Javier.
I believe this is called imposter syndrome for a lot of people that experience it. It's tough, but you have to realize that the people that are doing these things aren't very different than you. They are just like you. They are still human, at least for now. AI hasn't taken over yet. They are getting up every morning, eating breakfast, putting on their pants, one leg at a time, unless they're weird and they sit down and put their pants both legs on at the same time. I knew somebody that did that just to be different. But that is the big thing, is you are no different than the people that make these big moves. The difference between you and CEO is literally just your experience.
Javier is doing everything that he needs to be doing.
Yeah. And Javier, there's a saying of those who worry don't need to worry. I definitely think you fall into that category.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Just because if you're worried about something, you're going to be on the lookout for it. So what would catch you blindsided, you're already worried about. Whereas those who don't worry should worry.
That's really good. Yeah, my grandfather said it's good to be scared.
Yeah.
Because then you know what you're scared about, and you can actively... English was his second language. I don't think it was...
Did you say that as you brought out the belt to make sure you learned your lesson? Yes, Austin, it's good to be scared.
All right. Next, Liam from Sydney, Australia writes us, I keep setting big goals, but I never follow through. How can I stay disciplined and actually achieve what I set out to do? Oh. My simple answer is actually hold yourself accountable by writing it down. Write it down what your ideas are and set a preliminary date as to when you should be able to hold yourself accountable for any of your given projects. And I have some personal rules of thumb for myself as well. Usually if I want a project to be done by a certain time, I make sure that it's done by half the amount of time, because if I inevitably mess up and there's some details and it needs more polish, then I still have all of that rest of that time to execute the dream the way it needs to be executed. So there are different ways to approach this. What are your thoughts, Scott?
Liam, I am a big sufferer of this myself. This is probably my biggest weakness of staying consistent to my goals and being disciplined with it. And the best trick I've found so far is to find a partner. Exhibit A, this podcast. I've always wanted to do a podcast for the longest time. I started a few, never stayed consistent with it, wasn't disciplined in doing it every week.
But if I have to text you to wake you up in the morning, Scott, to get your ass to the desk because we have a guest lined up, then I'm holding you accountable, Scott. Yeah, I think it does help to have a partner to kind of ring your bell to remind you.
Exactly.
You know, like, I guess that leads into the idea of like a personal trainer almost, right? To have someone in your corner that can kind of call out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, if you are in a place where you're willing to receive criticism, I suppose.
True. If you're old enough and been around the sun enough times, you have learned how to receive constructive criticism.
Amen. All right, the last writer to the show, I'm really excited for this. Mr. Spider-Man himself from New York, writes in. With great power,
got a celebrity.
We do have a celebrity in our midst. Spider-Man from New York writes us, with great power comes great responsibility, but it also comes with a lot of stress. How do I manage burnout when the city always needs saving?
Because that is a hard one.
You know, Spider-Man, we don't get all of the other really cool Spidey heroes unless you sit one out from time to time, you know? Other people can't rise up to the challenge if you're always on plate at the bat. You know? So sometimes the city's got to burn just a little bit to
to create new heroes.
And then, like, once that need by society will manifest itself, once enough individuals with some super abilities are able to hear the call to action by your absence, You see, they would never do it on their own because you keep saving this city. You keep saving the city, Spider-Man, and we become too reliant on trusting that you will follow through as consistently as you have. So maybe just kick up your feet, take a break, take a vacation, go crabbing in Alaska.
Yeah, that's pretty solid advice there. I think the whole superhero analogy also definitely brings into the question of being saved versus saving yourself. So Spider-Man, we appreciate what you're doing, but if you see a situation where you know it doesn't have to just be you, take a step back, foster some youth to hopefully be able to help out as well. Because at the end of the day, you're just one man, one Spider-Man, but just one man. So if you can find a village or a city or anything along those lines that can save themselves, don't be Batman. Don't try to save Gotham. Have Gotham save itself.
In both of these scenarios, the city's got to burn a little bit.
I agree, yes. That's the only way that people will rise up.
You know what? I know what we could do. We could just write in. We'll write postcards to all the evil villains saying, Spidey needs a break. Can you pause? Can you pause a little bit?
My original
advice
would be to set boundaries. But it doesn't work when you're a superhero, and if you put that on notice, then all the villains just wait until you're off on vacation to commit crimes.
But if you put the villains on notice, then you put the rest of the city on notice that there's going to be no one to save them in that amount of time.
That's true. That is true. And then they have to save themselves. Okay, no. Setting boundaries still works. You're right. You set boundaries
with
saying,
the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the city knows, hey, the next 2 weeks, Spider-Man's on vacation. Everybody stay vigilant. If you see something, say something. Kind of deal.
You know what, Spider-Man? You might be in luck. You should really take off sometime in the weekend of early February, because I hear that crime rate absolutely plummets during the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
And there's no one going to be outside, all the gangbangers and thugs are going to be at home glued to their screens, like all the rest of the cholos. I say that affectionately. I'm representing.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to be careful. People can't see things on radio. But yes. All right. Well, thanks, Spider-Man, for running in. Hope you figure out a situation. But yes, set boundaries and take time off. Let the city save themselves.
Yeah, best of luck to you, Spidey. All right, This has been Austin and Scott Variety Show. Thank you so much for listening. Please write us in. If you have any sponsors, please let us know. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in the next one.
And if you want to be a contestant, definitely reach out. We'll be happy to have you on. Have a good day.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Croissant.